welcome to the Streets Won't Forget podcast. We're back. I'm Doji. Today, joined by Louis, Ralph, and Seb. And today, we're here to talk about best players in the world. Now, we've had the Euros, we've had the Copa America, two big definitive tournaments in football. And there's big shouts to say the beautiful game has fallen off. Euros, 6 players sharing the golden boot. Copa America, Argentina winning again. The post-Messi and Ronaldo era remains a struggle for football, but we're going to continue to count down the top 10 footballers in the world as of now. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, all of that good stuff, and we'll get straight into it. So, last year's list, right? This was last year's list. So, in 10th place was Salah, Lewandowski was 9th, 8th was mudryk, 7th was Neymar, 6th was Vinicius Jr, 5th was Haaland, bruyne 4th, Benzema 3rd, Messi 2nd, and Mbappe was 1st. I mean, let's see how this list goes in terms of this year. But already I think there's going to be quite a few names that were on last year's names.
Which is crazy when you think about it. It's only been a year and it's changed so much.
Yeah, it just shows how much of a transition period that football has been in. Boys, did you have fun making the list? No?
Nah.
It's a struggle, man.
It's a whole load of mid, I can't lie.
The top 5, I was like, yeah, that's the top 5. But the bottom 5, I was scratching my head, especially 10th, 9th. I couldn't really do it. I felt a lot of recency bias come in. I don't usually go for that, but I thought this time kind of might have to do it. Now here's the top 10. 10th place, the star boy himself. 20 goals this season for Arsenal, 14 assists. Arsenal's main man, some will say England's probably best attacker in the Euros. Bukayo Saka, the highest ranked right winger in this list. In his first Champions League season, got 4 goals and 5 assists, including the great goal against Bayern Munich. A worthy top 10 player, Saka.
Again, I'm looking at my list and I'm thinking, why isn't he there? But yeah, he's a worthy top 10 player. I think he's another one who, I don't know whether it's just sort of casuals, because everyone I speak to who watches and understands football rates Saka a lot, but a lot of people I speak to, like if I go down the pub and I'm drinking with people who don't watch as much football, or I speak to someone who's casually into football, they don't seem to rate Saka as highly as they should rate him. Like I remember in a group chat I said a couple months ago that he's world class, and everyone was saying no, he's not, and I said, well, name 2 right wingers better than him, and no one other than Salah could mention a right wing better than him.
Yeah.
So for some reason he's another one who just doesn't get the respect he deserves. But I think people who know ball understand how good Saka is.
Yeah. One of the best decision makers in football. IQ, always never does the wrong thing. But Ralph, he just doesn't seem to move you.
Yeah, and I think it's just a case of me, again, come back to the point of with his, the way he plays is just very drilled in it. And I think that's the reason I don't like Haaland as well, because they're just very drilled players.
Same as Salah, I guess.
Yeah, they're very one-dimensional. Like you don't ever see a time where maybe an elastico or something crazy from Saka, and that's what I think wingers should be. I think I'm just from a generation where I just expect wingers to be stupid. And
but he does beat his man though.
He beats his man all the time, and I respect. I respect him, innit? And I think he's an unbelievable player. Like you cannot deny that he's an unbelievable player, but he just doesn't move me to the point where I'm like, because he's a winger, innit? I expect, as much as Anthony's shit, Anthony actually is more enjoyable to watch sometimes.
Get out of there, man.
Because he's he will try a thing, innit? He will try a thing. And even if it's at the detriment of the team, I don't care. I want to low-key see you just try something stupid, because you're an entertainer, you're a football player. Like, you get paid. I pay, armchair supporter, but a lot of men pay a lot of money to go and watch you night and day all across the country to show up and entertain them. Sport is entertainment, that's what the sport is.
I guess it is subjective though, because I enjoy watching him, especially when he takes his man on. Like the point you made, you'd never see Messi pull out skills, pull out elasticos and stuff like that, but the beauty in him was those little deft touches where he'd knock it round a man, knock it round 3 man, knock it through people's legs. That was the beauty of Messi, and the efficiency.
He would twist up 3 man.
Yeah, but he would do it by
fainting his body.
But he wouldn't do it by being skillful.
Yeah.
In terms of doing skill, he would do it because of how efficient and how well drilled he was. He knew when someone was going to tackle him. He knew when to take the touch. He knew the movements of the defenders, and he knew his movements to a T. So.
But Saka's never taken 3 man out of a game with fainting and cutting in. He's cut in, and he's.
What did he do against Switzerland then?
Did he take on 3 man and wrap it? He just cut in, bruv.
Yeah, but he took.
Iron Robin cut in for the whole of his career, bruv.
Yeah, Iron Robin.
What player he was?
And he was a
Similar,
player. He
very,
was efficient.
very similar players, to be honest.
I feel like wingers, especially in England, that play in England are too hesitant nowadays.
To try
I think,
and take on a man.
yeah, I think the only two players really that still sort of have that are Saka and maybe Garnacho, and maybe
take
Anthony
on
Gordon
players.
as well.
Ra-
But
Doku.
Rashford,
Doku, if he's over 30, bro.
Doku of the right back's a
Doku.
pensioner.
But-
To be fair, Rashford, he didn't last season, but the season before he was taking people on. I think sometimes he just takes too heavy a touch,
He's
but he
going
does
that way now.
he does try.
He's going that way.
Yeah, but then Garnacho's kind of the same. He tries to take someone on and just runs into him.
But Garnacho will pull out an overhead kick, whereas I guarantee in his whole career, Saka would never do that.
That's just being like he's South American, isn't it? So he's always going to be capable of doing something like that.
Wingers, South Americans, chaos ballers. I want to see. I don't care if you do that once a game and you want to be efficient and cut in and score a goal, whatever. Do what you want. But you ain't won a trophy. You ain't doing anything. So being efficient, is it really that important?
He's won an FA Cup.
Fucking hell, man. That is dregs, bruv. That is dregs.
Nah, look, obviously, I watch him, and then I'm watching games against Bayern Munich away, where I'm crying out for someone to do something mad, and Saka's not doing that. But I think, especially for England, you need players like Saka, because you can't sustain attacks without players like Saka. Like,
keeps the ball.
He keeps the ball, always, finds a way to get positive outcome from his action. And I feel like England players like that a lot. You know, players like Kobe Mainoo as well. I feel like it's from a similar school to that as well. So,
but with Kobe Mainoo, like, he will take 3 man of the game. With like, he will do something that's just like.
He's a midfielder though. He's got more opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
Saka's only ever going to be 1-on-1 or 2v1.
Yeah,
really.
but that's as a footballer, that's technically an easier thing to have, because if you're in the middle and you've got to think about what's behind you, what's in front of you, and then still make a decision about your movement and where your ball, you've got to know where the ball's going next. As a winger, you can take your time to hold the ball. You know that the only person in front of you is there. That's your man. Take him on. You've got to cut in or you've got to cross it. So as a winger, you've got an easier job, to be honest. So you've only got 2 decisions to make: cut in, cross it, or just do a mad thing, shoot, basically.
I think
whereas as a midfielder, you've got to think about, if you lose the ball there, if you fuck up, then they're on the attack straight away. So you can't make them.
But that's why you are a midfielder, isn't it? In theory, you've
seen Kobe Mainoo twist up people.
Yeah,
before,
but in theory, you play that position because you're good at that. You play that position because you're good at receiving it, and you don't lose it. That's why he's a midfielder.
That's it. I ain't disputing that Saka's a sick player, but just
not for you.
Show me something, bro.
Yeah.
Flick the analog.
I think he's got credit in the bank though, because he's been doing it for so long and he's still so young.
He's getting better every season. So.
Since he was like, when did he break into Arsenal's team?
17
or something like that. And I feel like he has been Arsenal's best player throughout a very bad period.
Brandon Williams, bro.
Yeah, crazy left back.
Man was getting compared to
when he moved out of left back, like he was really the player in Arsenal, and he was still a teenager.
Yeah,
and now he's still like he's carrying it on. He's getting better every season.
Fairly well at left back as well, stats wise.
Cameos at left back in Euros helped England.
This is all part of it. How many, for instance, could Cole Palmer go to left back and do what Saka's done? Could Foden have gone to left back and do what Saka's done? This is why the whole discourse around Arsenal fans, for some reason, getting their butt hurt about Ian Wright saying Saka should play left back. I think that's actually Ian Wright complimenting Saka and saying he's good enough to play a position he's not comfortable in, isn't his natural position, because he's that good of a footballer. Because Foden couldn't play left back.
But I don't think you should sacrifice. I don't think you should sacrifice Saka on the right wing to play him left back to play someone worse than him in his position.
Well, I mean, we had Palmer.
Still, it's not the same sort of player.
It's a little bit different because Saka has actually played in that position before. Like, it's not like he's just been thrown there and be like, I'll play left back, and he's shone out. Like, he used to play there.
But he could. You could stick Saka as a number 8 and ask him to do, and he'll do the job. You could play him as a striker, and he'll do.
Number 8.
He can play other than centre back because of his height. I think he could play. If you ask him to do a shift anywhere on the pitch, he'll do a shift.
But
I think he's that good.
He's a number 8 just based on what though? Like, what's he showing you that?
Just because he's a smart footballer, he's IQ, press resistant, good at carrying the ball, good at linking up play, does his defensive work well.
Right, I've seen him honk out, bro. So I'm not.
Yeah, but I've seen bare man honk out.
Yeah,
bro, Scott McTominay has 300 Premier League games.
There's a whole limping.
The limping comp.
There's a comp of him limping when he's getting mashed up, bro. He's having a dead game. It's like, oh fuck it, let's just limp.
Some Twitter discourse, man.
Nah, do you know what though? I was thinking about this as well when I was thinking about putting Saka in my list, because I did. I think he is sort of like Rashford in the sense that he's only ever really good in patches. He's never like over a long period of time. He's playing every game really well. It might be like a couple months he'll play really well and then he'll have some stinkers.
Yeah, it's hard to find players who play well for 38 games. You know,
It is, especially when they've played.
I'm not even
40
saying 38 though. Like,
Yeah.
let's say for example for like a 4-month stretch as opposed to a 2-month stretch.
I think also what goes against Saka, and this is probably the same as Rashford when he was coming up. He's played 40 games a season since he was 17, and he's had no break any season. He had Euro 21, World Cup 22, 23 was the shortened season because of the World Cup. So he had a shortened break. Then he's obviously had this Euro, so he's not actually had a sustained break, and he's played every game. He's not been injured. The guy's body is probably going to be mincemeat by the time he's 28.
So what happened to Pedri already?
Exactly.
Yeah, and he's carrying his team as well.
Yeah.
Like a player like Foden hasn't had to do that. He's had better players around him.
And Foden's been in and out of the team for the past 4 years,
Yeah.
other than last year, where Saka's played every single game.
As a young player coming through, you always need better players around you. Like Rooney had it. Someone like Fabregas didn't have it. He was like carrying the burden, and then kind of finished his career quite early. So yeah, you could say Saka's maybe suffered from that.
Ronaldo had it when he came through as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Messi had it.
Yeah.
And these guys, you know, when you look at the number of games that Messi and Ronaldo played when they were 21, it's like half the amount of games that Saka's played at that age, half the amount of games Rashford's played at that age. Yeah. These guys, when they were coming up, they were allowed to have bad games and be taken out of the team. They were allowed. Fergie sometimes would stick Ronaldo out on the right, stick Ronaldo out on the left, take him off, wouldn't play him for a game. It was only until his body physically developed where he played as many games as he did. We've set a dangerous precedent in football nowadays where a young player is good, so he has to play every single game, which I think is scary because you know these guys are human beings as well, and there's more games than ever than there was before. So we need to be careful with these guys, and I think that's the coach's responsibility as well. I hear it though, because when a player's that good and they're that important to the team, how can you drop them? Especially in the social media era, you drop them for 3 games and everyone's asking you, why are you dropping them? Why are you dropping them? Why are you dropping them? There's so much noise all the time. Whereas back then, Fergie could get away with not playing Ronaldo for 2 games. Ronaldo could get away with having 4 or 5 stinkers in a row, and then that's how you learn and develop as a player.
That's why systems are important. That's why Pep gets away with it, because he's built a system where anyone can jump in that team and win them a game, like work in the system. Whereas with Arsenal, if you take Saka out, instantly you're just not winning the game.
Yeah,
like
you've got Reece Nelson there who's okay.
He's not good enough to take out the position. Okay, on the left hand side you've got a little bit more versatility like Trossard and Martinelli and that. But
and Smith Rowe.
Donny could potentially come in and not make a difference, but like hold their own. Yeah. But on that right side, like there's no one else you're putting there, and so it's so important for you guys.
The flip side of that is you sign a right wing and he's not going to play enough games to want to be able to sign, so you're going to have to sign a second-rate one because Saka's playing all the games. So I think Pep's in a position where he's won that much. He can afford to have players on the bench for 4 or 5 games in a row and then bring them in for a couple of games because you're Pep, you're managing City, you've won everything you need to win. You're in the position of power where you can do that. Whereas Arteta, if he brings someone in, he's not done anything in football yet. So you don't have the power to be able to do that.
Number 9, moving on. Best centre-back in the world, potentially. 4 clean sheets in the Euros, which was the most. Got in the team tournament in his first Euros. 18 clean sheets for Arsenal this season. Yes, another Arsenal player, William Saliba. I'd say he's the one Arsenal player that he's undeniably good. You can't sit here and tell me Saliba is not a top centre-back. I hear maybe having reservations over putting him in top 10 because, again, he's not won anything. But, I don't know, like that guy is just... From the moment I first saw him against, I think, Crystal Palace first game last season, yeah, unbelievable. Locked up Haaland every time I played him this season.
So did Luke Shaw.
Kanji is better than Saliba.
Kanji's...
I'll allow it, man.
I don't know. I feel like Saliba hasn't had enough time.
Kanji's actually...
Kanji's actually a very...
Kanji's a Swiss Army knife.
If we're going on the same logic that we've gone for other players, like he hasn't had enough time at that level to be put in the top 10 players. But I can't deny he's probably the best centre back in the league. But again,
we have to apply the same logic we applied for a lot of other guys outside the top 10, and that's why for me, I'd have Rudiger over Saliba
and another guy as well. I don't know whether he's going to be on the list.
Van Dijk is not on the list.
He's not on the list.
No, but I think Saliba might have overtaken Van Dijk now.
But in terms
I'm not gonna lie.
I think he's better than him. He's
probably defensively. You're not getting past him. I think you can get past Van Dijk.
It's
No, but there's been times where I felt like Gabriel had a better game than Saliba.
Yeah, of course.
And he has had blips. Like he's not impenetrable.
Also,
he's not.
can I just say about Saliba, right? For Arsenal and for France, he's playing in a terrorist system. Where Van Dijk, for the most part, at Liverpool, has played in that high line where they play very, very high up. I know they had the workman-like midfield before, but both the fullbacks were really high. A lot of the time, it was just him. Saliba's never really been in that situation where this isn't his fault at all. He's still an amazing player, but he's never been in that system that Van Dijk's been in where the whole burden of the defence falls on him. I mean, he's playing in a team with 4 centre-halves.
We play high though. Like
you play high, but
there's a big reason for that as well.
You're very, very compact. And I think you're defence first.
I don't think that actually, to be fair. Scoring the second most goals, 90-odd goals.
That doesn't mean you're not defence first, though.
No, we're not defence
You went to the Etihad and just...
Yeah, we went to the best team.
And you didn't even give it a go.
And
You just decided to camp on the edge of the box.
as with every team, going to Etihad. It's not defence first. I mean, that's like saying...
I think it's defence
first. That's like saying Real Madrid is a defence first team. They did the same thing when they went to Etihad.
They are a defence first team.
Nah, they're not.
They are.
Real Madrid are not. The defence first team is like Simeone's prime Atletico Madrid. Let's say...
What's the difference between that and Arteta? Genuinely, what is the difference?
Yeah,
Simeone is a terrorist.
You've got Koke and...
But what's the difference?
You've got Koke and Rodrigo on the wing.
But
we've got Martinelli
they're
and
literally 11 men behind.
But they
the ball
scored bare goals. They scored bare goals, and they won a league.
Griezmann scored a lot of goals. Yeah.
Yeah. And who else other than Saka scores bare goals for you? I'm telling you.
It's not.
Do you know what?
I'm telling you,
Havertz
actually scored a fair few last season.
It's flirting. It's flirting versus harassment. I'm telling you.
No. We might not have like flary players, but we're not a defence first team.
Any team that plays 4 centre halves and a DM is defence first team. Sometimes 2 DMs.
Would you say Man City?
Man City, their defenders when they play 4 defenders are not defenders. Gvardiol when he's playing for City is not a defender.
What about Ben White when he plays for Arsenal?
Ben White for Arsenal is again he gets forward, but he's a defence first player.
So Gvardiol is a different...
Gvardiol for City was the highest player a lot of the time last year, even higher than Haaland when he was playing.
Ben White is a fullback. Like he came through as a centre back, but he's not an Akanji Ake playing centre back at right. He is a right back now.
Okay, so he's a right back. Yeah. You got 3 centre backs plus Rice plus Jorginho.
Some games, yeah. Most games we dominate the ball.
Jose was a defence first manager. Chelsea still scored a lot of goals and they still had the ball most games.
By that metric, every top team is a defence first team then.
And then also, we're going to say John Terry wasn't a great defender because he played in the defence first team?
John Terry didn't play with 4 centre halves.
John Terry played with the same system. He played with a right back in
and also
Pereira. He had Gallas at left back.
John Terry won it under different managers as well. He won it under Ancelotti, who is probably a defence first manager as well, maybe not. And he won it under Conte, who debatably is a defence first manager. But he won it under 3 different systems. For me, Saliba for Arsenal and for France is playing in teams that prioritise defending over attacking. I'm not saying those teams can't attack. Of course they can. They're great going forward. Maybe not France. Arsenal great going forward. For me, they're a team that prioritises defending over attacking. I think if you asked Arteta, would you rather sacrifice conceding goals, or would you rather concede more goals and score more goals, or concede less goals and score less goals? He would concede less goals and score less goals.
Number 8, Man City's, let's say, one of their arguably greatest player of all time. Only featured in 18 games last season though. Kevin De Bruyne, he was in my list. Still got 10 assists in 18 games, which is remarkable.
Why did I not have him in my list?
I'm thinking that now.
Yeah, didn't have the greatest Euros, only got 1 goal, no assists.
I thought he played very well though in the Euros when he did play.
Yeah.
He should have had about 5 assists if Lukaku.
Oh my god.
Kevin De Bruyne down 3 places from last year. Last year he was 5th.
Yeah, it's just because of injury though, isn't it? Like if he went out for so long. I remember when he was out and I said that he was still better than Foden. A lot of men were like, he's not. And I wish I'd kept that energy, bro, because he's actually still better than Foden.
He objectively, he is still better than Foden, but Foden obviously had a better season last year. To no fault of De Bruyne's because he was injured.
I feel like if De Bruyne wasn't injured, he would have probably slapped around the same, if not.
I agree.
more than Foden last year, because I think he would have had the limelight more. Because Foden, and fair play to Foden, I think that's why he's definitely in the top 10, is because he stepped up in it. Like
he actually played better without De Bruyne, I think.
And he stepped up in a time where his team needed them. They still won the league, bruv. So for the fact that they didn't have their objectively best player for a majority of the time, and it was the sort of onus was on him and Haaland essentially to get them goals.
Even Haaland wasn't even there for a couple of the games.
Low-key dead, bruv. So yeah, that's why he's in top 10. But De Bruyne, I think De Bruyne personally is a better footballer. He's probably one of the best technical footballers that we're probably going to ever see in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Considering that in terms of midfield, he's definitely in the top 11 of all time in terms of midfielders in the Premier League, above people like Gerrard and them.
Is he a midfielder?
Well,
I'll just throw it out there.
He is.
Yeah, he is.
He is.
Yeah, he starts the game in the midfield. Like, he does start there.
But I think he's got a freedom, especially in the system Pep plays at the moment, that sort of 3-2-4-1. I think he's got a freedom, as does Foden, actually, to be fair. They've got a freedom where they can kind of play wherever they want, because the rest of the team's very structured.
Yeah. Will he be on the list come next year?
I don't think so.
I hope not.
Depends what trim he's got. If he's got them curtains again, bro, it's actually curtains to everyone. Curtains to Bruyne.
I don't know. I don't think Man City will do as well next season or this season coming.
That's what we say every season, man.
Nah, but I really don't feel it. I'm not feeling it.
This was a worse season than they had of the treble season, and they still won the league. They were actually low-key donkey this year.
Arsenal's fault,
they didn't. No one took the sword to them. And who's really going to take the sword to them apart from maybe Arsenal? And I don't know what Ten Hag.
I need to see more from Arsenal in terms of their
Chelsea. I don't know what their product, because then they've got like trouble in the camp at the moment.
I don't think they should have sacked their manager either.
They shouldn't have done.
Chelsea aren't coming top 5.
They're not. I don't know, man. It's a weird one, man.
Back to City though, the point, because it's the top 10. We will talk about Chelsea at some point. I do agree though, so I do think City won't be as good next season. I don't think they were as good last season. I think the reason City are winning leagues is because of psychology, and it's not actually because
they got Erling Haaland up top.
Because they win the big games, but they just had that bottle in the certain games. Like we went to Villa, lost 2-0. They slapped them 4-1. That was the difference, and it was 2 points at the end of it. That's what got them the league. Because I think De Bruyne is declining. I would be surprised if he's actually still on the list next year, because he'd be 34.
I'd be surprised if he doesn't get injured like that again next year.
He probably will.
Injury problems haven't been the best for the last few years.
It wouldn't surprise me if this is his last season at City.
Yeah, talks of him going to Saudi.
Nah, it's false.
Time to learn Arabic, buddy.
Fabrizio did say it's false, but I think I'm sure his contract's due to run out in either this year, next summer, or the summer after. At that point, City, and maybe he'll have the conversation himself and say, look, Riyadh, 600 bags a week, let's go. I'm going to burn like a tomato, but I think the time is going to come for him where he has to call it a day at the top level, just because his body's physically declining.
Just above him, number 7, new entry on the list, Serie A champion of Inter Milan, their top scorer in that league, Lautaro Martinez. Just picked up his second Copa America, scored 5 goals. Is Inter Milan's top scorer in Serie A this century. And whenever I've watched him, World Cups or Champions League games, he hasn't looked great, and I think that's the perception that a lot of us here in England have of him. But do we have to start putting respect in this guy's name now, because he's slapping in 3 consecutive seasons, he's got 20 goals for Inter Milan. Player that creates for others as well. 2 Serie A's now, and is leading his team to trophies. I had to put him in because you can't argue with that, winning the league and then winning a national trophy.
As top goal scorer,
you actually have to be top 10. Probably he could even be higher, to be fair.
Scored in the final as well.
That's what swayed me a little bit. I was a little bit hesitant to put him in, and I was reluctant because, as you said, when I watch him, that's just what I see of him. He just looks a bit like this guy ain't hit. But when you actually realise what he's doing, and it's a difference between him, like average goal scorers, who guys like Haaland, and they might look a little bit dead. When you're winning trophies and you're doing that, you can't you can't not. And if you're slapping 20 goals a season, you're scoring in big games, you're winning leagues, you're winning international as well. I know that, to be fair, Argentina do have a bit of a cheat code in international tournaments because it's just piece of piss, bruv. It's like,
but they didn't. To be fair,
they did it. You know,
they didn't. They didn't before. And the Copa before this one, he was really good in that Copa as well, and won. At the World Cup, I don't know what happened. A lot of people who whose content I watch who are a lot more into Serie A than I am. I watch the odd game, but a lot of people who religiously watch it say that World Cup, for some reason, he just had a blip. But to be fair to him, he still stepped up in 2 penalty shootouts and banged 2 pens. Yeah. So he still had the bollocks to do that despite not playing well. I think I get your point, and I used to have that same thing where when I watched him, he was never that good. But this season's the first season where he's been the main striker. He had to play with Lukaku before, who's always going to be the main striker because of his style of how he plays. So Lautaro, because Lautaro was always going to be that sort of creative second striker. Whereas now he's come in and Thuram's doing a lot of that dirty work for him. I think he's still scoring at the same frequency, but he looks a lot better. Yeah. And he looks like he's got his confidence back. He did really well for Argentina this Copa. 5 goals, goal in the final, 2 titles in his past 3 seasons. He's won the Coppa Italia as well. So he's accomplished, and I think he's the one player. There's probably a couple. There's 3 players I think Inter wouldn't let go, 2 for any offer who they wouldn't let go, and I think that's Lautaro and Barella. I think everyone else in their team they'd be willing to listen to offers for.
You got to respect he's winning trophies and stuff. He's obviously a good player, and I used to really like him when he was first. When I first heard about him, when he was, I can't remember what year it was, but him and Lukaku were obviously both at Inter. I think Conte was there.
So you had Watkins ahead of him?
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like
crazy.
It's obviously based on...
a good debate.
This Lautaro Martinez pick is obviously based on trophies. It's obviously based on trophies, and I do think if you really look at it, there are quite a few strikers that probably aren't in this list that are better than him.
Yeah. How many strikers have scored 20 goals in a season for 3 seasons in a row? I think there's him, Haaland.
Like I would make an argument for someone like Antoine Griezmann being in this list over him, to be honest. Even if he's not winning trophies.
It's not the worst.
It's not the worst. He would probably have been in my list in normal circumstances.
He
maybe
stunk in the World Cup.
In the Euros, yeah. He was terrible.
Yeah.
He was terrible. Apart from one game, he was really bad, which is uncharacteristic because normally he's really good for France.
But I think they all stunk.
It's
not really just him, but they all stunk in the Euros.
And then obviously Martinez stunk in the World Cup, so it kind of like
he did. He did. I genuinely don't know what happened to him in that World Cup because he came off the bench in the final as well and missed that sitter, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he missed the chance where Messi scored the rebound. Yeah. So I don't know what happened to him, but from what I see from Argentina fans on Twitter, they've forgiven him for how bad he was in the World Cup because of his performances at Copa. So
kind of reminds me of Tevez.
Yeah,
a little bit, but
it's actually a good comparison, to be honest. They're quite similar.
Number 6 on the list, Europe's top scorer this season, Harry Kane, 44 goals all competitions, 36 in the league, and he's now the highest scorer in knockout tournaments for any European player in the World Cup and Euros with 9 knockout goals, which is crazy.
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy because it doesn't every tournament. It doesn't feel like he's doing well in tournaments, but he does bag them in. Harry Kane, yeah, you can't argue this season for Bayern. Unbelievable hat-tricks against Borussia Dortmund, halfway line goals, great season individually. Obviously, it's not an elephant in the room anymore. It's out there. He doesn't win any trophies. Is Harry Kane, and yeah, it wasn't the greatest performance-wise for England, getting hooked at the 60th minute in the finals for the Euros. Is he a flat-track bully at this point in his career? It's hard to argue.
By definition, he has to be.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had this debate before. I think in the Euros, personally, he wasn't 100% fit. I personally think he looked like he was... He's always been slow, but he could always turn. This Euros, he looked like he couldn't move. How many players are we going to have over the years who are going to win a European Golden Shoe and not be considered a top 3 player in the world? I think had he have won a Bundesliga this year, there probably would be an argument. I mean, I know the Euros has just happened, so there's maybe a bit of recency bias there. But his record speaks for itself in terms of his goals. I just think the trophies thing is massive for him. I do expect Bayern to win the league next season. They have to. If they don't, then he needs to retire. I'm not gonna lie, or he needs to go to PSG or something.
We might see Elise in that list next year if they do.
We might.
Yeah,
we
well,
might.
That's
We
the
might.
thing though. Like even that Bayern team, they changed. Then they changed ownership or something like just before he came.
I don't know.
And it's all like I think Khan left as well, didn't he? As being like director of football. And there's a lot of changes, and they bought a lot of players that they normally wouldn't buy. Like even the Kane transfer is like not a standard Bayern Munich.
They tried
transfer.
getting Declan Rice as well,
Yeah,
didn't
they tried spending like big money and trying to do like the Galactico thing, and it wasn't what Bayern Munich do. So there's a lot of changes around Bayern. So I feel a bit.
It's never Kane's fault. I swear, it's never.
No, but-
there's always something, man. How are we talking about Oliver Kahn, bro?
When do you go?
How are we talking about Oliver Kahn?
Man's been retired 10 years.
There were the game they played against Dortmund. Dortmund basically ended their season.
Yeah,
They ended their season. They could have won the league, but
Yeah,
they
where
just
was
lost.
Kane then,
They
man?
lost to their
Where was he?
long-time rivals.
I don't know. I don't think you can blame Bayern this season on Kane. The England thing, I agree
Yeah,
that he has some sort of blame. Although I don't think he was 100% fit. You need to be a big enough man and turn around to the manager and say, "I'm not fit." You're not going to do that as a captain. Probably not. But and then at Tottenham's Tottenham.
Yeah, Tottenham's level.
Like Tottenham.
Tottenham didn't win the Champions League because Harry Kane played that final.
Yeah,
But
Yeah,
again,
he got played while injured.
again, what Poch needed to have a pair of balls then, didn't he? Really?
Yeah.
Like that's not. If you're a footballer and you've got the chance to play in the biggest game of your life, you're not going to tell your manager that you are unfit, are you? You're going to play, even if it's detriment to your team. Everyone would. I don't blame him for the Tottenham stuff. I don't blame him for Bayern this year. The England stuff, I could probably agree because he stunk it out in the Euro 21 final as well, Euro 2020. So I hear it, but again, you can't be the European top goal scorer and not be a top 10 player in the world.
Yeah, that's what's saving him.
That is what's
What's saving him.
and he is a phenomenal goal scorer.
Yeah.
No,
I just hope he wins something this
I
season,
hope so
man.
as well, man,
I need
because
it for him.
that might break the curse. You know, if he wins
yeah.
the league next year, we might win the World Cup.
I don't know. I just think Kane is good. Yeah,
If he
but
gets
like,
dropped in the World Cup.
in a system-based game that is now, is he the best striker for those systems, bro?
You
I'm
need
not
a-
sure he is.
yeah.
He's not mobile. He's not quick.
I think he is.
You need someone who's
if
you need someone
you
who's
put
going
the
to
ball
occupy
on the
that
plate
striker
for him,
space.
he will score. 10 times out of 10, he'll score. But if you're not putting the ball on plate for him, he struggles,
He
man.
brings a lot of players into the game.
does.
When
Who
he's
the
a
fuck did
captain-
he bring into the game
Yeah,
for
but
England?
Who was
No.
making the run for England?
No,
though?
the
Bro, who
thing
did he
is-
bring into the game?
Saka, without Kane, Saka just would be...
Without Kane, England
But
scored against
hang on,
Netherlands.
for Bayern though.
Without Kane, England scored against Spain. Without Kane, Lucas Moura scores a hat-trick against Ajax.
That England's-
Without Kane, Bayern Munich
but that
win the
literally
league.
scored the pen
Without Kane,
against
Tottenham...
Yeah, he did.
everyone's so worried. What are Tottenham going to do without Kane? It was literally the same team.
They
without
weren't.
Kane.
They weren't.
They weren't. Well, they came 8th the season Kane left. Kane got 30 goals that season. What a season for Kane. And they seem to come 5th. So, I just think Kane's prototype is just not, like...
I think
It's not that conducive towards
he needs
winning trophies, clearly.
He
because-
needs wingers or someone at least who's going to make the runs in behind for Bayern. I mean, we
Man's
see.
been in 3 teams, bro.
But
I
we
don't know
see-
what he needs. We're saying he
No,
needs
but we've
this,
seen it. We've seen it in the Champions League.
He needs to be
They
replaced.
took for some reason they took Sane off, and they just fell off a cliff. I know he was kind of stinking that game.
He was
but
coming back from injury as well.
Yeah, but he was making the runs. And Southgate should have known this. If you're going to take Harry Kane and you're going to play Harry Kane every single game, you need someone who's going to make that run in behind. You need someone to do that.
Yeah, if you've got Kane in your team as the sole striker, right, you're not going to have someone occupying that striker space where, you know,
Yeah.
if you pass it to the wingers,
You need someone who's gonna
they
play
have-
last line.
Like Kane's like that far back, like he's so far back, they have no one to cut it back to, so to just tap it in.
He could have.
You can't catch up.
Like a 4-4-2. Like when Tony come on in that game, like having him and Tony up front would actually low key probably would have cooked. To be fair,
Yeah.
or him and Watkins.
Nah,
up
you need
front,
pace,
man.
man.
Nah, but if you have
Him and Watkins-
Tony's not slow, you
like-
know.
Tony's
Huh?
not. slow.
Tony's not slow.
Come on now.
He's not slow. He's not.
Come on
But,
now.
like,
He's
still,
not. But he's not. He's
that
not fast though, is he?
But Kane knows he's not fast, and that's why Kane always drops back.
Yeah, but
if you're gonna have somebody,
Why are
if
you
know
dropping
that-
back, bro? We don't need you to drop back.
because he's
We don't need you to drop
world
back.
class passer of the ball.
But what's the
Yeah,
what,
but it doesn't lead to world class results,
If
bro.
we had
Nah, 'cause,
I'll ignore-
bro, if England had this, what about what did Tottenham need then? What did Bayern
Tottenham
need?
had Son,
And won nothing.
and they were really good.
And won nothing.
They
England
were-
were really good and won nothing.
They were really good. They came unprecedented in Tottenham's history in our lifetime. When have they ever come second in the Premier League? When have they
Win
ever
anything.
made a
They didn't
Champions
win
League?
anything. I just heard you guys listen to. I was talking about Odegaard singing his praises. I'm hearing didn't win anything. So
Yeah,
Saliba
but-
didn't win anything.
But
But
Harry Kane has scored 30 goals a season for the past 10 years.
unreal, great. But he's a flat track bully, bro. He's a flat track bully, bro.
But then so's Odegaard, but Odegaard hasn't done it for 10 years.
Who's to say, right, though? The whole thing about Kane dropping back, who's to say he can't just stand on the last defender, play with his back to the goal and bring other people
But
to the game that way?
the thing
Why
is,
do
he doesn't
for
do
some
it that
reason,
way.
Kane used to do that. It was when Mourinho took over at Spurs, Kane started to drop back.
Bro, he had
for
that
whatever
one
reason.
game against Southampton, assisted Son 4 times, got gassed. And now just keeps trying to drop back.
It was
Like,
that
you don't need
it was that Mourinho season where he decided that Kane needed to drop deep, and ever since then Kane's just done that naturally. Before that, we never thought of Kane as someone who would drop deep.
Yeah, he was just headers in the box, finishing.
He was good at bringing others into the game, but he wasn't someone who dropped deep. I think he's that good at it, and he's a world class footballer. For me, if I was England manager, and I think any other England manager other than Southgate would have optimised that, either by playing Anthony Gordon on the left or bringing Marcus Rashford or Raheem Sterling, someone who can stretch that last defence. I think
I
that's
don't know, man.
that personally.
Kane right now is Ronaldo after 2018. Like,
You're gonna wind Seb up.
Yeah. You don't see him at Juventus, man.
yeah,
Yeah,
man,
he won't. He was.
scoring a lot of goals.
To be
but
fair, he was literally the same as
it's
what Kane
exactly the
is now.
same.
He is the
He
same.
needs this, he needs that, he needs that, and then he leaves the teams. What, Man United come third, win a trophy. So yeah, that's what I think about Kane. Really, like, I'm just not sure.
That's not
He's
that's not
just-
because he left, though. Look at us this season. That just happened.
Yeah, fair enough.
With the
Still,
same- with the
still,
same team.
still
With
won a
basically the same
trophy.
team.
Still won a trophy.
Yeah, we won a
because-
trophy, but
and-
our league position is just...
I think Kane, because he's not won a trophy, people say he's not as good as he actually is.
But did you watch him in the Euros? He was really
He-
bad,
he-
man.
he
Like
was- he
7
was-
games. I
he
don't want
was
to hear.
bad.
I don't really want to hear injuries, because how can you play? How can you be taken fit if you're injured, bro? I've seen Wayne. I've seen Wayne Rooney go tournaments for England, not play the first 2 games.
Luke Shaw didn't play until the
third game.
final, and Southgate took him.
I don't think Kane was injured, to be honest.
He
No, I
wasn't
think he
injured.
was.
I don't
Kane
think-
looks like that
He was out
every single time.
He was out
plays
for Bayern's
England,
last
bro.
4 games of the season with a back injury.
Okay, but he looks like that most times for England. He's still got 3 goals. He's still got the golden boot. But like,
I think he looked particularly sluggish.
yeah,
particularly poor.
I can't really be
If
bothered
you-
to make excuses for Kane.
If you think back to that game against Italy that we played in qualifiers, Kane looked really sharp, and he was taking people on.
I don't care about the qualifiers.
No, but he's that's what I'm saying. Kane at his best though.
Yeah.
Kane when he's not.
is a guy that will crash in the qualifiers. Fair enough.
No, he's a guy.
But he's not going to win.
But you just say that he's the top European goal scorer in knockouts?
Yeah, unbelievable. But
Yeah,
just get over the line, man. I just
But
ask.
that's not 100% on him.
Is
Is it his fault
It's
Kyle
not, but he's,
Walker?
he's,
Is
he's
it
starting
his
to
fault?
become the common denominator.
Is it his fault Kyle
Sure,
Walker didn't track
sure.
Cucurella?
Actually, your
We didn't have
boy-
enough
It's
chances,
his
though.
fault,
Your
though.
boy Saka switched off as well.
It's his fault that he didn't convert the
Defensive,
penalty against
never
France.
makes a mistake.
Yeah,
Right,
I know.
no
I
one
agree,
else is what
I
he
agree
is.
with you on that, but he did against the Netherlands,
He did, but
and he won us the group by scoring against Denmark.
yeah, I mean, Watkins literally came on. He had about 20, okay, including the final, about 80 minutes. First time he comes on against Denmark, chance, right? Created. We can't create a chance the whole game, and Watkins gets a chance. And then the game against Netherlands, bro, he bags the fucking winner. Imagine Kane was still on the pitch, would have gone penalties, might have lost.
Yeah,
You know?
and I agree, but
That's what I mean. It's just Kane
But
is
again-
better than Watkins, but Watkins is just a
It's
better
this-
profile in modern football.
it's
Proper
it's
Kane.
the system Southgate played Kane in, and Watkins.
Well,
because-
Tony looked alright when he came on.
Yeah, and
Tony's a hold-up
but,
striker.
But Tony is someone who you can get the ball up to him to get you up the pitch.
I thought Kane was supposed to be that.
Kane's not that.
Kane's a hold-up striker. as
Kane's a
well.
ball to feet player.
Fair.
Saying has never been someone who will win aerial.
So you're saying Kane's never been the guy who can hold up the ball and bring other. We just said Kane can
He's
bring
not-
others into play.
but he's not
Holding
some-
up the ball is bringing
but
others.
he's
into
not-
He's a
play.
hold-up player, but
he's
not
not
in
someone who wins
not-
flick-ons.
I was going to say about Kane and the dropping deep thing. Your striker's supposed to occupy them centre-backs and give them a hard time. Kane doesn't do that.
He doesn't do that.
He doesn't do
It's-
that.
it was like,
Who
what?
says
Even
your
Ronaldo
striker-
does that. Like,
But
if he's not offering you anything
Who
else, like,
says
he's
your
going to
striker
occupy.
is supposed to do that?
Bro,
That's
if
not
you're not
striker's
scoring,
format.
at least give the guy a hard time. man.
But
doesn't
okay,
do that.
your winger's supposed to take people on. Why do you love Sancho? He doesn't take people on.
He does take people on.
No, he don't.
But you
The
don't.
Champions League
But
semi-final.
you don't
He had the
United.
most since like
Bro,
2010.
Sancho's not a great winger. We're not going to
No,
talk
but,
about.
but I'm saying for Seb,
But I'm saying we saw this season Sancho take a guy on 20 times, bro.
your right back's supposed to defend. Is Trent not a world class right back?
But he makes the difference going forward.
And so does Harry Kane. He scored 40 goals.
In the Euros when it matters,
He scored 3
He weren't there.
goals.
He weren't there.
He
He
scored
weren't
3
there. He weren't
goals.
there. Everyone watching it was saying, get this guy off. And when he came off, we looked better. Number 5, real striker. This striker, what he does, he wins Premier League titles, gets the Golden Boot, 38 goals last season. Erling Haaland.
What does he do for his country?
Bro, that was never really my fault.
What was he doing in the Euros, though?
What's he doing for Man City? He wins trophies, bro. He won
the league. Yeah,
he won the league.
Did it in the
First
FA Cup.
season, he helped them win the Champions League. Erling Haaland. I had him at 2, to be fair.
Where is he? 5th?
He's 5th. Yeah.
8th? So that means people must have had him like 7th, 8th.
I didn't even have mine in any order.
I didn't.
Yeah, people didn't really have Haaland that high. Most people had him, but again, people kind of forgot because of the Euros, I think, recency
You're
bias.
funny, man.
But no, Haaland worthy to be in the top 5. Should be higher.
Should be top 3, really.
Top
yeah,
2.
should be.
Top 2, yeah.
There's a lot of things he
Top
can't
1,
do.
actually, though. After I seen Mbappe in the Euros, top 1.
Yeah, what did Haaland do in the Euros?
Yeah, but that, you can't, like, I'm not going to lie, bro. Like, you can't expect Norway to ever do anything, no matter. if they've
Georgia got to the knockout rounds.
Yeah, fair enough. Look,
Scotland were there.
Haaland should do better.
It's the style of football they play.
I'll keep
Norway
it
don't
the
have the
same.
Norway don't have the players to play.
Band for band, Scotland and
Yeah,
Norway.
but no, Scotland and
Georgia.
Scotland and Georgia have
band for
have
band.
teams that are set up to defend and counter attack. Yeah, Norway's players, like the players they have in their team.
See, we're
doesn't
talking
allow
about
for that.
systems now.
Band.
Their
We're
system,
talking
no,
about
I'm saying their
systems.
system allows them to play like and
Yeah,
win
forget
games.
all that. Haaland, I'll say Haaland, Odegaard do better for Norway, innit? But for the Prem, for his team, Man City, bro, he does his fucking job, man. Haaland,
Band for band.
best striker in the league.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, probably.
as I said, there's a lot of things he can't do, but if you just play to his conditions, right?
It don't really
Look
matter
what
what he
happens.
can't do.
It doesn't matter what he
Because
can't
what
do,
he
yeah.
can do, he's the best in the world at what he
Yeah,
can do.
he's unstoppable at what he can do. Getting in behind, scoring goals. How many? He scored 6 hat tricks, I think. Prem hat tricks for City already.
All I will say about him is that I feel like teams have sussed Haaland now.
He scored 27 goals.
We'll see next season.
How could Dust
Did Aguero ever score 27 goals in the Prem? I don't think so.
But Aguero was never actually fit for a full Prem season, I don't think. But yeah, I mean, you can't say they've sussed Haaland. He scored like 27 goals last year from like 26 games or something in the Prem.
Yeah, trust me.
He's not been sussed. He's the best striker in the world. You put the ball in the box in the air and he's scoring.
Bro, leaping over guys.
So you know what? Sometimes he needs 4 or 5 chances a game to score, but he will score.
Yeah, but he did stat pad against Luton.
Yeah, true. I mean, we went 1v1
That was
against
FA
him.
Cup, wasn't it?
FA Cup, yeah, he scored 4 goals. I mean, Jordan Clark scored a brace, so has Odegaard ever scored a brace against City? Jordan Clark's better than him.
Absolutely right. Anyone object to Haaland being 5th?
Nah, he should be higher.
Right, number 4 on the list, the highest ranked English player, 23 goals, 13 assists
Mainly.
for Real Madrid last season, La Liga Player of the Year, La Liga champion, Champions League winner, 21 years of age. Hey Jude. Jude Bellingham, number 4.
Higher.
4th best player
Yeah,
in
he
the
should.
world. Jude Bellingham is not the 4th best player.
Yeah, he's not higher than Haaland. He's not higher than Haaland.
Okay, Bellingham, I think he got the most goals for a midfielder for Real Madrid ever in that season.
Is it?
Yeah, I was a massive fan of Bellingham until I started to actually watch him play, and then it just wasn't quite adding up. I wasn't seeing the same. I wasn't seeing this all-action player who could do everything. I was just seeing. I was seeing a striker, to be fair.
Jude Van Nistelrooy, man.
But the thing is, you know, like I'll give Kane a hard time. I'll give Bellingham less of a hard time because I do think he is better at finding them moments than Kane is. We saw that in the La Liga, and that bicycle kick was an unbelievable. that was unreal, man. That was unreal.
Do you know what? It was unreal, yeah. And people say the factest last minute makes it better. I actually think the factest last minute actually makes it better for him because he just thinks, fuck it.
Yeah.
I've got nothing to lose.
Honestly.
So I'll just swing my leg at it.
He's the best moments player in the world, and for that, I don't mind him being in the top 10.
When he joined Real Madrid, like there was a point in time where he was just like inevitable, innit? Like you knew that Jude was popping up with a goal. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Over the course of the season, maybe it didn't pan out that way, but he still got the same contributions as Vinny, who's technically probably going to be higher on the list anyway. So
Rightfully so.
but I just think they're just different because I think Vinny's got that flair, and Vinny's a guy that's going to crash the ball, like run at people and stuff.
Yeah.
You kind of notice him more in it, but
Yeah, I think the main difference is every single game Vinicius Jr plays, that we watch anyway, none of us are avid La Liga watchers, but every game Vinicius plays, he's a threat. Jude, it's not like that. He's not a
that should
threat.
be
I
that's
think-
how it should be. If you're a winger, you should be a constant threat. Like you should be always attacking.
Jude's a striker.
No, yeah. Do you know what, on that? Yeah, the bits I have seen of him in La Liga, yeah, kind of reminds me of the way he plays. Right, he just finds space. He just does
Who's
find
Vinicius?
no Jude.
Jude.
He just finds space in the same way that Muller would just pop up in a little space in the box and score.
Yeah.
I think in the Euros, I didn't like how he just played every minute. I know he can bring the moment, but for me, I was like, I think Palmer can give you that moment as well.
I don't like how he was doing left wing shifts either.
Obviously, I don't know him, but I've got an idea of him, and I think he is chasing the personal glory a little bit when he plays. I see him. I see passes open for him. He's turning it down. He's
But
trying
that
to run.
might not actually be a bad thing because I think Ronaldo's the same.
Yeah, Ronaldo and Jude similar mindsets.
Selfishness.
players.
Yeah,
And
but for Ronaldo, it was that was his best attribute. Even though you're doing it all for personal gain, your personal gain is also the team's gain as well.
Yeah.
But
And I think when you're that good, it don't really matter.
long term, that don't work out unless you are at the level of Ronaldo. Long term, that's bad.
It does.
I think it makes players better though.
it wasn't amazing for England, though. I must say
He wasn't. I
Like,
actually think he was really bad.
Yeah, alarmingly bad as well. I'd say.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
he's still got time. He's a
he's-
great talent.
he's
but-
another
Is that
one,
just a
though.
Southgate thing though, because at this point we're talking about players who are all technically in the top 10 greatest players in the world,
Apart from Saka.
and even Saka's on the fringe of that. Even Saka had an okay tour. Like he was one of our better players, but he wasn't amazing. He weren't setting the world alight. So does that just tell you that potentially this is a common denominator here, that this may be just an England setup that doesn't suit these players, or is
I
it
think-
these players just aren't good enough? Because at this point, it just seems to me that it's just an England thing.
Yeah, potentially, and I think we had a extremely easy route to the final again.
Yeah.
I think had we have played a Spain or a Germany earlier, we would have gone out earlier. Granted, we were very good against the Netherlands. We stepped up when we needed to that game. But again, I don't know why we didn't play like that every single game. I know it's different, but against Spain, I don't know why we didn't play like that. I also think there's a thing with English players where we have like an inferiority complex. And I think, realistically, Spain, we could have played a lot better than we did. But for some reason, it was even before the game, it was like, oh, we're not going to be able to get the ball off Spain. Why can't we get the ball off Spain? These players are playing at the same level as the Spanish players. Some of them are even higher level.
Yeah.
You know, Spain had Real Sociedad players playing. They had RB Leipzig players playing. Like, they had these guys who are good players, but we had players who were playing for elite clubs. Why couldn't we get the ball off Spain?
Yeah.
I think there was that inferiority complex from start to finish. And I think Southgate played a part in that as well because of how he is in terms of how he sets up. Even when we scored that equaliser, he just decided, you know what, let's shut up shop and try and get to extra time.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see how Bellingham does in the next tournament. He has great games for England. Like the first game for Serbia was a great game.
Yeah,
like,
he was
I
good.
was honestly writing him off before that a little bit, and then he had that game. The people I was with were like, "What were you saying about Jude?" I was like, "Yeah, I take it back." And then he just the rest of the tournament, he was the player that I saw in the Champions League last stages, just not really doing much outside of scoring goals.
Did you speak to any of the Germans when you were out there about Jude?
Yeah, like no, they obviously rate him high because
Same as Kane as well, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
and they obviously say like at Dortmund he was actually more of a pivot player.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he wasn't as attacking. They rate Kane high because of how well he's doing. So when I was saying drop Kane, they were like, what? No, if you're watching your team week in, week out, like you know. I think Bellingham was right to start, but I just think keeping him on the whole time was.
I just think he didn't work with Foden.
I think that's another thing. I think I personally don't think it's optimal, but we could have made the attack function more if we played Jude in the pivot with Rice, because then we maybe could have moved Foden into the 10, we could have played Gordon out on the left, we could have moved Palmer into the 10 maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know why we didn't see it other than for 10 odd minutes in the tournament.
You think Germany would have beat England?
I think we would have had the psychological edge on them because we'd played them recently.
Yeah.
I know it was kind of a different group of players.
Because Germany don't have a pacey team at all.
But they played Sane.
I mean, Musiala is relatively fast.
Yeah.
Sane isn't.
No, Sane's rapid.
No, I'm not
not
saying he's not
like
fast,
yeah.
but like he was in and out of the team.
And the way they play you don't need pace technically, because they're technically quite efficient in and around the box. Like you've got Gundogan, you've got players, and even when they weren't giving with Havertz, the way that Havertz plays as well, you've got players like Havertz who can sort of do things in the box. But then even when Havertz come on a full crew, for example, they can just slap it in the box. And 9 times out of 10,
nice
I think we'd have beat them.
Yeah.
I think we'd have
It's
beat
nice having a striker who can hold it up, man. Number 3 on the list, he was last year's number 1, 44 goals in 48 games for PSG. Champions League top scorer, France captain, only 9 shy of Giroud's all-time record. but he still has not won the Champions League and had a pretty bad Euros. Kylian Mbappé is number 3 on the list. He was my number 1.
My number 1.
He was my number 1 just because, like, I think I put it to, if you give them the right conditions, who's going to be the best? I think Mbappé is the best.
I agree.
But yeah, this season the big games just hasn't been at it.
I agree, and I think we can discount some of the PSG stuff last year because he wanted to leave and they kind of gave him some death row Suge Knight contract. Like, they basically made him fucking prime minister. So I understand that's probably a fault of his. You know, you're getting paid that much money, the least you can do is perform. But he still was the top goal scorer in the league and the Champions League.
Yeah.
Stinky Euros with France. For some reason, he can't perform at the Euros.
Yeah, World Cups he's great.
Yeah, World Cups he's great, but at the Euros he just can't perform for whatever reason. But like you say, I think if we discount the Euros, he's still the best player in the world in terms of what he's achieved and what he continues to achieve.
Yeah.
I think he's the most dangerous if you give him the right conditions, which I don't think France did at the Euros.
Yeah, he was trying to create a lot.
Yeah, the worrying thing for me though about Mbappe is he was a better player for me when he was 19 than what he is now.
He did break his nose though. Right. At the
Yeah.
start
Yeah,
of the
that affected
tournament.
him for 2 games. Yeah.
Yeah, it did, but like, bro, football's played with your feet, not your nose, bro. Like,
Come on.
No, but when you're running, you're gonna feel it. Like you're gonna feel like this
Just keep the same
pressure in
energy,
your
man.
face.
Some guys have a broken back. So
To be fair, when Kane had the mask on, he was slapping it. He was slapping.
yeah, he
it,
was
so-
cold when he had the mask on, so was Son, I swear.
great goals against Burnley and guys like that.
He scored that banger against Arsenal when he had the mask off. He took it off.
What a trophy.
Oh, yeah.
What a trophy. Man. Yeah, Mbappe third, downgrade last year is fair.
I can't believe the person who's ahead of him. This is going to piss me off.
Number 2 on the list, Rodrigo Hernandez, better known as Rodri, the best defensive midfielder in the world. One of the best defensive midfielders of all time. Surpassed Busquets already, I think, now.
Fuck off.
Doesn't lose games unless he meets Man United in the FA Cup final for some reason. So has won the Nations League with Spain, Euros with Spain, player of the tournament, even though some say Fabio Ruiz was better than him.
Yeah, how did this PR is insane. How did this guy win?
Nah, Rodri's not a PR player, man. I'm not having
I
that.
think Williams was probably
Rodri's
the best
not
player
a-
in their team as well.
Fabian
In that
Ruiz was
tournament.
their best player.
Nah,
Or either that or Williams.
I think
You
Williams.
get those stripes though when you're... He hasn't like had these
Yeah,
flowers
he
yet.
deserves
He
it.
deserves
Bro,
these flowers.
Nah.
the
Do you know what I saw the
stuff
other day?
I hear about Rodri. He's an amazing player, but
Do you know what I saw?
Nah, Rodri's actually sick, man. Like,
but he's not the second best footballer in the
He
world,
might be,
bro.
man. Nah, he's
not better than Mbappe.
Nah, I saw a photo.
Or Haaland.
I saw a photo of when they had the shootout and they lost. There's all the City players standing in front of him. Rodri was standing behind them, like hiding, and that made me lose a little bit of respect because they did lose that, and he didn't want to step up. Obviously, it's more than just on the pitch, like football related stuff.
In
But
the Champions League final, he stepped up in multiple finals and scored.
So did Andre Onana, bro.
The most clutch DM of all time.
He is clutch.
clutch.
Casemiro scored in the Champions League final.
Yeah, because
Would we have had-
Casemiro got flowers, man.
But would we have had Casemiro right now?
Yeah,
If he was doing what Rodri's done, would we have Casemiro as
that
second
was
best
his
player in the world?
international trophy.
He's
He won the Copa America.
he won the Copa America.
Yeah, he won
He's
Copa America.
multiple Champions Leagues. You wouldn't have him as the second best player. You'd probably.
Nah, because Casemiro is not as good as Rodri, man.
He's
Like,
better than Rodri.
No, it's not always a case of this player's done this player's done the same thing. So we rate them the same way.
Yeah, but you're saying he scored in the Champions League final.
I didn't actually say that.
Carvajal scored in the
I
Champions
didn't
League
say that, to be fair.
Like-
I just said,
Rodri is an exceptional, one of the best DMs we've ever seen. But he's not the second best footballer in the
sorry,
world.
was Carvajal not on the list?
no.
He was outside.
Yeah.
and he won the Champions League, La Liga,
Yeah, but
the Euros, and scored in the
Rodri's
Champions
better.
League.
Rodri's better than
Carvajal,
Carvajal. He
like-
is. But
You can't compare. No,
Can we start rating players? And
No,
not
I was gonna
the-
say
not
I
the cap- not the-
don't buy into the idea of like comparing a right
Well,
back to a midfielder. Do you know what I mean?
As I said before, you're when you're talking about best players, you're combining a combination of trophies won, influence on the team, and also ability. Rodri has all three of those things in abundance. This season he's just had, plus the last season as well. You're talking about longevity. He's done it over multiple seasons at the highest level. I don't know how you can chat to me about it.
Yeah.
But he's not the second best player in the world.
He must be though.
He
He's
might
not.
be, man.
He might be because what
He's
are you basing that off of? You looking at him and saying
So
scoring goals because he can score goals. He scores clutch
I have a
goals.
question for you.
His job isn't to score goals and to assist. His job is to keep the team ticking and to be defensive.
I have a question for you. When
Which all the teams he played for have done.
the year that Bayern won 5 trophies, was Manuel Neuer the 3rd best player in the world?
Well, maybe.
You could argue that.
You just can't
You
be.
could because his job isn't to kill.
He came third in the Ballon d'Or as well. Yeah, he probably was.
And the year Jorginho came 3rd in the Ballon d'Or,
That
was he the 3rd best player in the
No,
world?
that was ridiculous.
Nah, but Jorginho's not as good as Rodri.
But Jorginho's performances that year
Yeah.
were very good.
That's fine, but I've seen in my eyes, Rodri
But
is
he's
better.
Rodri does what he
he's
does
not
better than
better
anyone
than
else.
Mbappe,
Yeah.
for one.
He's the best in his position in the world, and then
doesn't
all these other guys.
So is Tony
Yeah, they
Rudiger.
might be the best.
They may or may not be the
Rodri's
best in their position, but
definitely
he's
the best.
definitively the best player in his position in the world. Currently, for the last 2 years straight up, he has been that guy. So when you're telling me is he the best player, his job isn't to score goals. His job isn't to
He still
assist.
scores though.
Okay,
He still
so
does those
Haaland,
things.
Haaland,
He still bangs
Haaland's
it.
the best player in his position in the world, objectively, right?
But you could technically say Martinez is better than him.
You can't.
You could objectively
You
say
can't
that, though, because
say
of
that
the way
Martinez
goals
is
he
better than
scored.
Haaland. Haaland is the best striker in the world in his position.
Lautaro?
Yeah.
No.
It's not even close.
But
Haaland
based
scored
on what you
38
said,
last
scoring
season
goals,
in the
big
Prem.
games, winning trophies.
Yeah, Haaland does all of that as well.
But Haaland's only won.
He came to England his
one
first season, he
trophy.
won a treble.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's last season.
So
That's
so
this year.
so
This year,
why,
wait, he
so
still won the
why
Premier League,
is
he's the
Rodri a
top
better
scorer.
player than Haaland then? Haaland is the best striker.
Bro,
Striker
let's not
in the
forget,
world.
Haaland was out for 3 months. He was holding down for City. Rodri, bro. City have won 4 Prems in a row, right? Foden's been good sometimes. KDB's been good sometimes. Bernard Hill's been good
Consistently.
sometimes. But
Always
Rodri's
there.
always been there.
So he's been the best because he's not been injured.
Bro, but then he
He
goes
turns
like whatever team he plays in wins games, bro. Like it's not that different from like we give guys like Scholes their flowers, right? Now we do. It's not that different, is it?
Scholes was never the second best player in the world though.
Why would you put centre backs why would you put a centre back in the top 10 list?
So you
I had them low down on my top 10
you're
list.
happy with him being top 10?
I'm more than happy with
Top
him.
5?
I'm more than happy with him being top 5. He is not the second best player in the world though.
As I said,
I also
Scholes-
think a DM in general can't be the second best player in the world.
Bro, he's not any DM. He got like 9 goals, 14 assists.
The only
last season.
person I think they could have made an exception for that for was Kante in 2018. He
See,
was
I
unreal.
disagree. I
Kante
disagree.
was unreal, mate.
I still disagree. And again, Kante
He's not a
wasn't-
DM,
He wasn't
but
really
he
a DM.
was a
But
DM.
neither
But
is
he wasn't a
Rodri.
DM.
Really, is he that much of a DM?
Rodri's a DM. He's
He's
deep
out.
lying.
Yeah.
midfielder.
But is he that deep?
That's because the way City is set up, but
He's
he
not-
still is.
He doesn't
Like,
need to do as much
He doesn't
of what you
need
think
to.
a DM
I have
would-
a
would
question
need to
for
do.
you. If you stick Rodri in Man United,
Yeah.
does he have the same performance levels as he has for City?
No, because he's got more
He
defensive
doesn't.
responsibility.
If you stick Haaland in Man United's team, would he have the same performance levels? Yes.
He wouldn't.
Yes, he
But
I
would.
don't
City-
think
man,
he would.
had no great chances.
Because I think Haaland.
He was scoring 50
and-
goals for Dortmund.
Yeah, but
Bruno
they
Fernandes had the
expansive
most
open
chances
football,
created
whereas
per 90 last
Bruno
season.
Fernandes, most chances
in
created in the league.
Bundesliga, man is slapping bare goals because it's open to score goals.
No.
Sancho looked good in the Bundesliga. He came to
No,
Man
you-
United. and
Timo
looked shit,
Werner.
bro.
No, but you need
Timo
to be
Werner
you need
looked
to be
fucking
objective.
Unbelievable in the Bundesliga.
Just say Haaland never scored
Chelsea
38 in the
shit.
Bundesliga.
Yeah, Haaland.
Haaland's not scored.
Haaland scored more goals in the
season.
Prem than Haaland
Man
is scoring
United.
35 goals for Man United.
Because they create the most chances.
For Man United, he's scoring 35 goals.
Man United created the second least chances in the Premier League.
Bruno
last year.
Fernandes had the most chances created out of any player in the league.
I think they both look good if they play for Man U.
They'll be
I
good.
I think
they'll both be good.
if
but I feel
They're
like-
elite players,
I
bro.
feel
Yeah,
like
but-
Rodri would have a bigger impact. on
I
Man United.
disagree. I don't think he would be anywhere
Man
near.
United's biggest problem is conceding chances. So if
But
you're playing a
Rodri
player
doesn't
who's
actually
world-class-
stop teams. He doesn't
Right, he
stop
doesn't
teams.
stop
He
them.
doesn't.
He's
why
a
do they
tempo.
play-
Do you know what? He's like he functions like what Tony Kroos does for Real Madrid. He's not going to stop chances, but
Yeah,
he keeps
what
the game
player-
ticking.
what
you know
player
I mean?
Tony
One
Kroos
pass,
is?
pass.
If I pulled you up stats
Same
now,
Kroos play.
I know that you
Yeah.
can't tell the full picture. Haaland does not. Rodri does not stop that many chances,
man,
and
Rodri's
when he does, he
long,
fouls
man.
people.
Yeah, exactly, bro. He never
But
gets a
he-
red card, though,
but
does
he-
he?
but he-
Apart from one time last season.
Rodri, he is not a traditional DM in terms of he's stopping.
He
He's
is,
stopping
man.
people. If he played for United, he would be nowhere near as good. Why did Pep change the system to have more defenders in there?
But he did that before. Rodri was winning leagues when he was playing with Carl
They couldn't win the
and
Champions
Mendy,
League.
bruv.
They couldn't win the Champions League.
To be fair, he plays in a team. He plays in a team that sees a lot of the ball at
does.
club and international level.
If
he's playing in a team like Man United, we don't see a lot of the ball.
Nowhere near as
people
good.
run
When Rodri
constantly.
was out for 3 games, City lost like 2 of them 3 games.
I'm not saying Rodri isn't world class, but he is not better than Erling Haaland. There is a million fucking planets and stars in the universe. Not a single one of them Rodri's better than Haaland.
Erling Haaland is a generational talent.
Erling Haaland will go
He's
down.
a generational DM.
Erling Haaland will go down as one of the best players to ever play the game.
We might not see it. Haaland's the type of player that like you don't know if you're going to see another Erling Haaland. You'll probably see.
Rodri. No, Haaland's obviously. Like,
Haaland's better than Rodri. Let's just be real for 5 minutes. Honestly,
I had Haaland higher, but
Mbappe is better than Rodri.
I'm not mad at Rodri second. Bro.
If you're basing it off of last season, Rodri was a better player than Haaland last year.
Well, number 1 on our list, Vinicius Jr. 24 goals for Real Madrid, all competitions last season. Goals in the semi-final against Bayern Munich. Guys come on leaps and bounds, man. I never thought this guy would have been number 1 on this list ever.
Mums don't pass through
years ago.
Ever since that's when he started balling.
On this, sorry to drag on. Why is Vinicius better than Rodri, but Mbappe and Haaland aren't?
I think so because when they bucked each other, Vinicius,
Slapped.
even though it was pens, he had the last laugh in it.
Yeah, but Haaland can't play against Rodri, so you can't really you can't really say
Vinicius
that.
This is mad influential, man.
So is Haaland. I just find it insulting to have him second best in the world.
Rodri.
Yeah, and I would find it a little bit insulting if he won Ballon d'Or as well.
Why is it okay if Vinicius wins Ballon d'Or though? What's really the difference?
Because
why is it so different? Vinicius doesn't score like the most goals in the world, or like do the most assists. Haaland does. That's why we're singing this praise.
Attackers. You spend 200 million plus on attackers. You don't do that on DMs.
What's this price tag got to do?
No, but attackers are more important and more influential for football. People watch football for attackers. They don't watch it for DMs.
No, I like watching Rodri play for them. We're talking about Rodri, some dead guy to watch.
Bro, he won them.
I think there's probably 2 different arguments going on here. Where there's who is the better player and who has been better or had a better season or achieved more. Do you know what I mean? Where
they've both achieved the same amount, really.
Well, they haven't because one of them's won the European. Cup.
And Vinicius Jr won the Champions League
and the Liga.
And the
Liga. He's won. So
Mbappe's won a World Cup.
To be fair,
in
Real Madrid's Champions League,
he's won the Euros. He won the league.
Mbappe's won the World Cup. He's won the Nations League. He's won the Premier League. The only thing he hasn't won is the Champions League. Like for me, the whole Rodri thing is complete recency bias.
It's not.
But then we're talking about a Ballon d'Or, right, which is or top 10 player right now. So why would it not be recency bias? Why would you look back at years gone by?
Okay, why was Messi first last year?
Because he literally slapped the World Cup, bro.
He wasn't the best. He wasn't objectively. He wasn't.
He's got, like I said, with the Messi thing, it's just about credit in the bank, innit? Like,
this is what I'm saying. Haaland, fucking.
But no, that's Messi. That's different. Though, but it's Messi.
Like, Mbappe has credit in the bank. He won a World Cup. He got to a World Cup.
That's time ago. I love Mbappe.
The only player in history of football to score a hat trick in a World Cup final.
Yeah, unreal.
There we go.
At the moment, it's credit in the bank. Fair enough. That's good for credit in the bank. League earns his credit in the bank at the moment, which is okay.
In the World Cup.
Whereas Rodri, Prems, winning goals.
So if Mbappe wins the Champions League next year for Real Madrid, does that
be number 1?
Yeah,
that shouldn't.
I think he has to win it as the best player in a very convincing way because their team.
Well, no, we all go by that logic.
It's an inevitability.
You have to be the best player in the team in the tournament.
It's an inevitability that will happen, and Mbappe winning the Champions League doesn't make him a better player.
It does. It 100% does. Because if he doesn't win the Champions League, then you don't already know.
But he's won a World Cup already.
Yeah, he has. 6 years ago.
Trophies add 100%.
They do,
especially when you're a key part of it, man. We're not talking like Jorginho. Yeah, he was great, but Rodri for me more influential for Spain.
Why?
Jorginho, bruv, literally pops up. He pops up with goals.
Jorginho was unbelievable.
Pops up
in the
with
Euros.
goals. Jorginho was alright. I never watched Jorginho in Italy, and
so,
my heart of hearts felt.
Nico Barella in the last Euros, Euro 21, had the same, if not more of an impact than Rodri.
Nah, I wouldn't say that.
Wait,
I don't think Barella was. I thought Verratti was better.
Didn't Barella score 3 goals or 2 goals?
In the Euros.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe.
So, if he would have won the Champions League that year, would he have been talked about in the same as Rodri?
Nah, man. Like, go back in the group chats, but every time Rodri scores, we're like, bro, fuck this guy.
Yeah,
Man. He's
I'm not
never
saying,
really spoken about a DM
I'm
like this
not
before.
saying Rodri isn't unbelievable and he deserves to be top 5.
Kind of are though.
No, but to have him above Mbappe
But
is not. That is.
But he's got more credit.
An
at the
argument
moment,
could be
more
said
credit
that
than
you could still win a game without a Haaland, without an Mbappe, with an overall the overall team. Like there are players that could technically replace those guys, and you could still win a game. But without a Rodri in that team,
John Stones.
John Stones.
No, but that's.
Stick
I
John
can't
Stones
say that
there,
because if you replace Rodri.
Because when Rodri was out, they literally lost like.
Yeah,
what,
because
2
they
out of
had
3?
Calvin fucking Phillips to replace him. If
Yeah,
you
he's a bozo,
if you
bruv.
replace
No one can chat
if
to
you
him.
replace Rodri with Declan Rice, yes, City get worse. They don't get significantly worse. Yeah,
wouldn't
that
have.
why is basically every Ballon d'Or that's been won by a forward or.
But like, name some of the forwards that have won Ballon d'Ors. Like, all due respect, Messi, Ronaldo.
Lewandowski, Benzema.
Like,
Can I-
these are
Lewandowski
top
never
players.
won.
All due respect, Vinicius
Benzema.
Jr. is good, but he's not at that level.
So is Vinicius Jr. is not as good a player as Benzema.
Nah.
I
Not
do
yet.
agree, but it's not like untouchably different.
Yeah, but that season Benzema had was unreal. I don't think
sensational.
the season Vinicius Jr.'s had this season's great, but it's nowhere near that Benzema season.
It's nowhere near that Benzema.
Vinicius was really
So, yeah.
good that season as well, actually.
He was good. Bro, he's a good player.
And to be honest, I don't think Vinny should be first, personally.
Nah, I don't think so.
And there's probably more of an argument for him. I know he's won 2 Champions Leagues, but there's more of an argument for him and Rodri than there is for Haaland and Rodri or Mbappe and Rodri. For me personally, because these guys are players who, in 50 years' time, and Rodri will be there, but he will be the same as Busquets, the same as Casemiro, where you look back in 50 years' time and say they were the best player in their position, they were amazing. But Mbappe and Haaland are the guys you're going to look back on and say, this is the R9, this is the Luis Suarez, this is the guys who you will tell your kids about.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell my son in 20 years' time about Rodri.
I'm telling my son about
Bro, older man might talk to you about flipping Lothar Matthäus, bro. Like, he won a Ballon d'Or.
Yeah, but no one talks about him as... No one would talk about him as being better than R9.
That's just a
Not,
meme.
but like, that's R9. Like,
R9 also
Yeah,
never
but
won.
it's Haaland.
R9 also
Mbappe still
never won a
has-
Champions League as well.
Haaland hasn't done R9 things yet.
Has he not? He's won a Champions League.
He's won the Champions League, yeah.
Okay, but
R9
Mbappe's done R9 things.
All-time top scorer.
Has Mbappe not done R9 things?
Nah, he hasn't. He hasn't. Hence why, if you did an all-time list, you wouldn't put Mbappe above R9.
But why
You
wouldn't...
Haaland-
I think there's
you
an
wouldn't put
argument
Haaland
for
above
it.
R9.
But there's an argument.
I think there's an
Mbappe
argument
has
for
done
it.
as much, if
Yeah,
not more,
yeah,
in football
yeah.
than R9. You know, whether we're thinking about Rodri as the second best player in the world or not, in 50 years' time, we're not telling people about
Look,
Rodri.
man, you need to... I love Mbappe, but you need to do more than just win Ligue 1s, bro, at this point.
Won the World Cup, bro.
Yeah, 6 years ago, bro.
But he's
'Cause
done that.
But, alright, Pogba's not in this list.
Because
Ozil's
Pogba's
not in
fucking
this list.
basically retired.
Yeah, but he won the World Cup.
And Rodri's still...
He won the World
Mbappe's
Cup.
still
We're not
scoring-
talking about
Nah, wait.
2018.
Mbappe's
not
still
talking
scoring
about
30 goals a season. It's not like he's a bum.
Yeah, but bro, Ibra's done that. Cavani's done that. So it's great. I think Cavani's better, but sorry, I think Mbappe is better than them two. But you have to do more.
If, for example, if Toni Kroos didn't retire, right? I'm just thinking about this, right? Because he's the tempo setter. He's the tempo setter in Real Madrid's team. If he didn't retire, based on this season, would you say Toni Kroos is?
He's been better than Rodri. He's been
He
not
has been
better.
better than
If Toni
Rodri. He's been
Kroos
better than
won-
Rodri. But would you say he's
Toni
second?
Kroos has been as good as Rodri, if not better than Rodri this season.
But would you say
No, he
he's second
hasn't,
or what?
bro.
No, you wouldn't. I don't
How,
think
how
you
was
would.
he not?
Rodri's banged 9 goals, bro. Toni Kroos has done that.
You're talking about whole.
Who cares about how many goals he scores?
That's why
Bro,
we're
he
putting him
shouldn't be
forward,
doing
bro.
that.
Toni
He's
Kroos-
doing
We're
more
talking
than
about
what
players
DM
that play
usually
at the
does.
base of midfield.
Toni
like.
Kroos was dominant for Real Madrid in the Champions League. He was having 150, 120 touches a game. 150 is an exaggeration. 100 touches a game. Won the Liga, won the Champions League. Even for Germany, he was unbelievable, I thought.
He got spun by
Rodri,
Rodri in that game. Rodri won the midfield battle over him that day.
I don't think
Rodri's more influential
I
that
don't
game.
think Rodri was better than Kroos that
He
game.
was, bro.
He-
Kroos
I don't think he was.
was bad that game, bro. Tried to take out Pedri. He went outside that game. Top player. But, I don't know, man.
If you compare their seasons, they both won
Yeah,
two
I'm gonna
trophies.
say if he didn't retire, would you put Kroos in the top
No, I
five?
wouldn't put Kroos. Like, I'm not doing
Why,
this, bro.
but why would you not?
I'm not doing this because here's another hypothetical. If Kroos wasn't retiring, we would not have. We'd be probably putting Modric ahead for this. But
No, I'd put Kroos
because Kroos is retiring, right?
He would have been in my top 10.
We're kind of putting him in these lists. He's not.
Modric has been coming off the bench this season though a lot. He hasn't been starting.
If Kroos wasn't
Valverde, then why are we not putting Valverde ahead of both of them?
Do you know what? That's a good shout.
It is a good shout, but Valverde's not.
Actually in the top 15 of the Ballon d'Or, I'm pretty sure.
But Valverde's just not.
From what I hear, I think Valverde's been better than Kroos.
He has a bit.
I think he's been better than Kroos.
He's been more influential on the pitch, I'd say.
I don't think.
I think Kroos is leading.
In terms of output,
I think if we asked a Real Madrid fan,
I think they'd say Valverde.
I don't.
They would say Toni Kroos.
Who should win the Golden Boy?
Lamine Yamal.
What's the age limit on it nowadays?
You think Komi should win?
No, not Komi, but I don't think Lamine Yamal should be winning Golden Boy. Are you skunked?
What is the age limit on Golden Boy 16, nowadays?
Bro.
Did you? Wait, hang on. You said he stunk a minute ago. You said he had a better
No, I
tournament
said
than
he's
Saka.
skunked. I said, nah.
Who should then?
Don't be so stupid. Like, there's definitely better players.
Who?
How old is Verts?
Huh?
How old is Verts?
Williams.
Nico Williams, yeah.
I don't think Nico Williams is eligible. I think he's 23. Yeah, I think he's 23.
Works might be 21.
Can we deep a 16-year-old won?
You know the Garnacho is like third favourite.
Yeah, and Lenny Yoro is like fifth. Verts is also about 22, 23, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. Elise.
It's
just turned 22. Just turned 22.
Verts 21.
Verts is 21. Give it to Verts.
Verts can be.
Verts is an honourable mention. I think he's probably second. But
he had a better season than Lamau.
He had an invincible season.
He had an invincible season, bro. As the
best player. As the best player.
Was he the best player?
Yeah.
Yes, he was.
Better than Xhaka.
Was he better than Xhaka?
Xhaka was good, but in terms of forward output,
Was he better than Frimpong?
Yes.
Didn't Frimpong get like the same amount of goals and assists as him?
They are very equal, but
I don't think they had a best player.
It was very much a team thing, but Verts was if you had to
but
pick
in
one.
terms of if you're comparing him to Lamau, he's had a better season than Lamau, bro.
I think
Lamau's actually not been that good, apart from his one little stint in the Euros. As a season, Lamau hasn't actually featured that much for Barcelona.
Yes, he has.
But he hasn't scored that
got
many
the
goals.
assist against PSG in the Champions League quarter-final.
Couldn't give a fuck, bro.
Is Cole Palmer even 22 yet?
Cole Palmer's 22, I think.
Jude Bellingham is 21, isn't he?
He won it last year.
He won it last year.
I don't give a shit, bro. Stop him on it again.
Yeah, he turned
I
22
think
in May.
Yamal did something unprecedented in terms of winning the Euros at 16 as a key player. I think that deserves a golden ball.
Yeah, but man had an invincible season.
It's the same as
don't shout to him.
no, but it's the same as Messi winning the Ballon d'Or and over Haaland. It's the same argument, right?
How many trophies did Leverkusen end up with last season?
Two. But they played a second division team in the final of the cup. But still,
We're saying Yamal or
Verts.
We'll wrap this one up. The top 10 then. Top 10 best players in the world 2024. 10th place, Bukayo Saka. 9th place, William Saliba. 8th place, Kevin De Bruyne. 7th place, Lautaro Martinez. 6th place, Harry Kane. 5th place, Erling Haaland. 4th place, Jude Bellingham. 3rd, Kylian Mbappé. 2nd, Rodri. Number 1, Vinicius Jr. Let us know your thoughts on that, guys. Last question, actually. Do you think Vinicius Jr. is going to be the face of football post Messi, Ronaldo now?
Kevin De Bruyne, no.
No, I think it will continue to be Kylian Mbappé now he's at Real Madrid.
Yeah, now he's got that. It'd be him or that Endrick dude.
And Bellingham as well.
And Bellingham as well, because but more so because Bellingham is
PR.
It's PR and he's like he's handsome, isn't he? So
another shout for Golden Boy is Arda Güler by Stocks. That's it. End of the episode. Weird list, but hopefully in a few years' more time it'll be better. Again, thanks for watching, and until next time, peace out.
Peace out.
What's number 2? So